Welcome to this explainer on something I like to call the discipline illusion. But before we even jump in, let's just take a quick second. Take a slow, deep breath. Okay, now I want you to think about those promises you've made to yourself lately. The quiet goals you set at 11 p.m., the healthy new routines you swore you'd finally start, or those grand ambitions just sitting patiently in the back of your mind for years. Now think about how often those promises actually become reality. We're going to take a really deep and maybe slightly uncomfortable look into our own behavior today. We'll explore why we do the things we do and honestly why we completely ignore the things we really want to do.
Have you ever noticed something just super weird about how we operate? When someone else gives the order, boom, you follow it flawlessly, right? Like if your boss requires you to be at work at 5 in the morning, you get up early. You might grumble about it, sure, but you show up. If a client sets a crazy deadline, you deliver under the pressure. But what happens when the order comes from inside you? You say, Monday, I'm hitting the gym. Monday rolls around and nothing. Next week, I get my life organized. Next week passes in an absolute blur. This year, I finally launched my personal project. The year vanishes, and that big plan stays locked in a drawer. I kind of want to pause right here for a second, because it's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? Like, why in the world do we follow other people's orders with this rigid, uncompromising discipline, but we treat our own life-changing rules like they're totally optional? Honestly, it feels a lot like self-sabotage. You sit there alone with your thoughts, and it feels like you're just not trying hard enough, like you're missing some fundamental puzzle piece everyone else has. Well, I want to lift that heavy guilt off your shoulders right now, because the absolute truth, it is not a lack of discipline. You are absolutely not just lazy or weak or broken. Society loves to tell us that discipline is this magical character trait you're either lucky enough to be born with or you aren't. But think about it. You've already proven you have it. You juggle complex schedules, you hit demanding targets, you deal with intense external pressure every single day of your life. So, the issue isn't your baseline ability to do hard work. The issue is sustaining that work when literally nobody else is checking on you. Okay, let's dive into the core of this, because there is a very real, undeniable biological reality happening here. Your ancient brain, it was absolutely not designed for your modern 5-year career plan or some voluntary, grueling fitness regime. It was designed for one thing: to survive today. It acts as an incredibly powerful survival machine, constantly trying to conserve energy and avoid discomfort. For the vast majority of human history, wasting precious energy for no immediate reason literally got you killed. So your brain isn't actively trying to ruin your life or dash your dreams. Actually, scratch that. It's just being remarkably efficient. It's just a bit outdated for the modern world. And I bet you know exactly what that outdated biology sounds like. It's that universal, quiet, super persuasive whisper you hear early in the morning when your alarm starts blaring in the pitch dark. Just 5 more minutes. We've all been there. That isn't you being weak or pathetic. That is literally millions of years of human evolution politely begging you to conserve your body heat, save your calories, and stay perfectly safe inside your warm, cozy cave. And that exact same evolutionary instinct dictates where our attention goes all day long. Reaching for your phone? That's an effortless, guaranteed reward. You get a quick, reliable dopamine hit right now with zero physical toll. But studying, working out, or building a new business, those take intense, painful effort today with absolutely no visible payoff until months or even years down the line. Your ancient brain just does not compute the abstract idea of 6 months from now. It only calculates what hurts the least in this exact fleeting second. So maybe the real problem is that we've been fighting on the completely wrong battlefield. We try to overpower our brain's natural efficiency with sheer brute force, relying entirely on willpower. But listen to me here. Willpower is a highly finite mental resource. It is definitely not this bottomless well you can just keep dipping into. Every single choice you make, what to wear in the morning, what to eat for lunch, figuring out how to politely reply to an incredibly annoying email, they all act like tiny, invisible withdrawals from your daily willpower bank account. And just look at what happens to that precious resource mathematically as the sun goes down. In the morning, you're golden. You wake up full of vibrant intentions, clear goals, tons of energy. But as the day grinds on, decision fatigue builds up. By the time evening rolls around, your energy just plummets. Your conscious mind taps out, and that ancient brain takes the wheel, steering you straight toward the absolute easiest, most familiar path. And it's doing this entirely to protect you from more effort. So, the absolutely crucial point we need to take away from this is almost nobody messes up their grand life goals at 8 a.m. Think about it. Those frustrating bad decisions late at night, like binge watching TV for 4 hours instead of reading, or ordering junk food instead of meal prepping, those are not acts of malicious self-sabotage. They're just the natural result of mental exhaustion. Exhaustion, not weakness, has already won the battle before you even realized you were fighting.
Well, if true discipline relied purely on endless, superhuman willpower, literally no human being on Earth would ever be disciplined. So, how do the truly productive, highly successful people actually pull it off? They pivot to a profoundly empowering solution. True discipline isn't about having endless, burning motivation 24/7. Discipline is environment design. It's about meticulously setting up your physical space to make the hard decisions for you, long before your tired brain even gets a chance to complain.
Let me paint a picture of exactly how a morning routine falls apart. You wake up desperately wanting to work out, but your room is basically plotting against you. Your gym clothes are buried somewhere in a dark drawer, your running shoes are missing, and it's freezing outside. Meanwhile, the couch is right there, it's incredibly cozy, your phone is already resting right in your hand. The choice was made for you by your environment. It's not some deep moral battle, it's just a simple physics equation between easy and hard. If the wrong path is easier, it will always, always win. Successful people do not spend their days fighting themselves in a constant state of internal friction. They set the battlefield up in advance. They literally lay their workout clothes out the night before, right where they'll trip over them. They put the book they want to read right on their pillow so they have to physically touch it to go to sleep. They leave their phone charging in a totally different room. They aren't relying on being mentally strong at 6 a.m. They rely on making the right behavior the path of absolute, undeniable least resistance. But hey, beyond just moving things around in your physical space, you need to put your mental autopilot to work. Think about how much you do every single day, brushing your teeth, making your morning coffee, locking the front door, with zero conscious effort. Trying to build a massive new habit out of thin air? That costs huge amounts of energy. Instead, we use something called habit stacking. You strategically attach your new behavior right onto an automatic trigger that already exists. Like, after I brush my teeth, I immediately stretch. The existing trigger does all the heavy lifting for you.
There is a catch here, though, and it completely revolves around this idea of keeping it small. The new action you stack onto your routine has got to be absolutely minimal. I'm talking 2 minutes, writing one single sentence, or reading one single page of a book. Why? Because you must leave absolutely zero room to negotiate with yourself. The goal here isn't to win a gold medal and exhaust yourself on day one. The goal is simply to generate movement. Because once you start, momentum kicks in, inertia switches sides, and it starts actively pulling you forward instead of holding you back.
So we really need to firmly stop scolding ourselves. Seriously, I want you to completely, permanently reframe how you look at procrastination from today onward. Procrastination is almost always a design flaw in your environment, not a character flaw in your soul. It's literally just the presence of excess friction. When your brain sees a high physical or mental cost to starting something, it rightfully refuses to start. Remember, your brain deeply responds to ease. It definitely does not respond to guilt or shame. And it becomes super visually obvious when we look at the friction in our physical spaces. Imagine a completely messy desk where your important study materials are buried at the bottom of a heavy zipped-up backpack. That is incredibly high friction. Your ancient brain takes one look at that and goes, yeah, no thanks. Let's watch TV. Now picture a perfectly clean desk. Your notebook is already open, pen resting right on top, just waiting for you. That is low friction. By simply changing the scene before you even need to work, you collapse the resistance. You effortlessly generate that initial crucial movement.
Oh, and we need to destroy one final, really dangerous trap right now. The deeply held belief that you have to fall in love with the process to be disciplined. Guys, that is pure fiction. Think about it. Nobody jumps out of bed incredibly passionate and fired up to brush their teeth, but everyone does it. Why? Because it's an emotionless, automatic default path. True discipline isn't about having relentless passion. It's about reducing the friction in your life until doing the right thing feels as boring, normal, and automatic as brushing your teeth. And as we pull all of these concepts together, we reach the deepest, most powerful layer of this whole illusion. Underneath your daily habits, underneath your meticulously designed environment, everything connects back to your core identity. Every single time you complete an action, even if it's just reading for 2 minutes or stretching for 60 seconds, you are sending a profound, undeniable message to yourself. Identity isn't forged in a mirror by shouting a motivational speech. It's quietly built from tiny, accumulated pieces of undeniable evidence over time. When you design your environment to help you win, you start accumulating that positive evidence. and your view of who you fundamentally are begins to permanently shift.
Once that internal identity shifts, the daily, exhausting fight finally disappears. Discipline isn't a battle anymore. It just becomes a natural, effortless consequence of who you are. So, as you look around your environment today and think about the invisible rules that have been quietly guiding your life, I want to leave you with one final, profound thought to chew on. Are you ready to stop fighting yourself, design your surroundings for success, and finally become the kind of person who simply does what needs to be done?